Hi everyone, Christine here from the Hollowbrook Branch with another cooking video for you, and today we are going to be making chicken pot pie. This recipe, I won't say it's a quick recipe because the cooking does take some time, but it is easy to throw together and it tends to be a family favorite. So let's start by looking at the ingredients you are going to need. You will need some chicken breast. I have about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of chicken breast. Here I have chopped onions and chopped celery. I'd say this is about 3 stalks of celery and about 1/2 of an onion. You will need pie crusts. This is store-bought pie crust. I am at the end of this video going to put up a recipe for homemade pie crust if you prefer to do it that way. But for this recipe, I tend to like the store-bought with it, and it keeps things really simple, so that's what we're going to be using today. And then we have some canned items. So I have a can of cream of chicken soup. That's your creamy base for the chicken pot pie. And then you're going to get whatever vegetables you would like to put in your chicken pot pie. So what I have today is a can of sliced white potatoes. And then we have some carrots, some corn, and some peas. Green beans is another great addition, but today I'm going to just stick to these. And you can use the small size cans or the large size cans, whatever you prefer, and you can vary it based on which veggies you like more than others. So let's get started. The first thing you need to do in this recipe is boil your chicken. So I have some boiling water on the stove. I just put my 2 chicken breasts in, and now I'm just going to put in my celery and onions so that those can all boil together and that makes a nice flavor. Try not to drop them on the floor like I did. So we are just going to let this boil for about 15 minutes. Usually it takes about 15 minutes until the chicken is cooked all the way through, is white all the way through, and no more pink on the inside. Okay, the chicken has finished boiling. It's cooked all the way through, so I've removed it from the water, and I do usually toss out the onions and celery with the water. There's always a few pieces left in there, and that's fine. They can go right in the pie. So our next step is to shred the chicken. Now you can do this by hand with a fork and simply shred it apart into pieces, but I like to use my mixer with the paddle attachment because that does it really quickly and with no effort on my part. So and turn it on. All right. I think it needs 1 more minute. So now you can see my chicken is nicely shredded and ready to be put in the pie. Now what I'm going to do is simply mix my shredded chicken together with my veggies and cream of chicken soup. So I'm going to just dump those. I've drained the water off all the veggies, and I'm just going to empty my cans. Corn, peas, carrots, and potatoes. Soup. All right, and then you're just going to stir that all together. And if you'd like, you could add a little salt and pepper at this point. I find that the soup usually adds enough salt for my tastes, but you can always add whatever seasonings you like in here. And then once it's all mixed together, like so, that all mixed together, we are simply going to put it into our pie crust. So once it's in there, then we just need to add the top crust. the top crust is on there, and I am going to grab a fork so that I can crimp the edges of the crust. Like so. You just move all around, and that just seals the edges there. And it looks nice once it's cooked. And then I also usually like to poke a few holes into the top of the pie. This allows it to vent, and it will also look nice when it's cooked. So sometimes I do a shape, so I am going to do a heart today. Not the neatest one I've ever done. There we have our heart cut into the top of the pie. And then this is going to go in the oven, and it needs to bake at 375 for about an hour. And then once the crust looks brown enough to you, you can take it out, let it cool for a few minutes, and it's ready to eat.